Well, let's talk to Juliette Touma, who's Director of Communications at the UN Agency for Palestinian Refugees. Welcome back to the programme, Juliette. Good to see you. So we heard the UN describing conditions for Palestinians as living in utter, deepening horror. What are Palestinians facing now?
We are seeing a repeat of what we've seen the first few weeks of the war. Constant displacement, people living in fear, in anxiety, and people continue to be forced to leave the places they have come to seek shelter in. Some are their own homes, but also UNRWA shelters and other places where they believe they would be safe. Except, you know what? No place is safe in the Gaza Strip, not the north, not the middle areas, and not the south.
So what can be done by humanitarian organisations? What's needed to help?
Well, what is needed and what we're calling for, and we have repeatedly called for, is a humanitarian ceasefire. This should take place right away. In fact, it's been a respite for people in the Gaza Strip when the short pause took place that expired, sadly, on the Friday morning. So at the minimum, we need to be back to that pause. But we also need constant and regular deliveries of humanitarian assistance into the Gaza Strip.
Israel has declared some humanitarian areas in Gaza. What do they look like? How can aid get into those?
Let me confirm something to you. There is no such thing as a humanitarian area, let alone a safe zone in the Gaza Strip. This does not exist. And the United Nations has been very firm since these reports and statements and declarations started coming out about the lack of any safe zone or any safe place across the Gaza Strip. There is no safe zone, no safe place, no places spared, and people have nowhere to go. They're being pushed and pushed and pushed very close towards the border of Egypt. No place is safe. This war must come to an end. We must have a humanitarian ceasefire as soon as possible. 2 million people have nowhere to go in the Gaza Strip, and there is no safe zone or safe space.
What about the healthcare system? We've heard the hospitals are at breaking point. What's your understanding of how that's functioning at the moment?
Yes, and there is very, very few medical facilities that are functioning right now in the south. They're also running out of supplies. This is exactly why the establishment or re-establishment of the supply line coming into Gaza, providing humanitarian assistance, must be renewed. We must have a regular flow of humanitarian assistance into the Gaza Strip, including of medical supplies, but also other survival items and supplies and fuel for a humanitarian operation to be able to continue.
Juliette, good to talk to you today. Thank you for joining us. That's Juliette Touma from the UN Agency for Palestinian Refugees.